Welcome back to episode 35 Style of Play Football as we continue the Premier League previews for each of the clubs. If you're new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the videos, make sure you let everyone know that we're doing these previews as well. So if you're a Premier League fan, one of your clubs will be mentioned and previewed throughout the next couple of weeks on this channel. So make sure you subscribe and tell your friends to do the same as well. Today, we're looking at Bournemouth, a team that really did struggle last season. When you think back to their performances and where they were in the league last year, I think they finished 12th last season, I think it was. But they had a really turbulent season, didn't pick up their first win up until October. I think it was a 2-1 victory against Burnley, which, look, I mean, Bournemouth are always going to be a team that will possibly look at just being in the Premier League. They're happy to be in the Premier League. They don't necessarily push for the European spots in the league. They've managed to avoid relegation the last couple of seasons as well. They've spent quite a bit of money previous seasons. They've bolstered the squad, which we'll talk about some of the incomings and outgoings as well in this mini preview for the season for them. But I do feel Bournemouth are a team that will just continue to be in the league. They'll continue to just be there, hover around the league, and not necessarily push on, but not necessarily be in danger of being relegated either. Now, Bournemouth are a team that like to spend a bit of money. They really do. They've brought in Luis Sinisterra, Ines Unel, who I think was on loan last season for them, 16.5 million. Alex Paulson has come in as a goalkeeper from Australia. They brought in Daniel Jefferson, who I think will mean that Kiefer Moore went on the other direction. He went 1.7 million to Sheffield United as part of that deal. They've got Hamad Junior Traore, who was on loan as well last season, and they got Joe Rothwell again, who they've brought in as well. So I think in terms of the signings that they've made so far, and obviously I think they've just signed Dean Huijsen again from Juventus, the centre back, which they needed to do. They lost Lloyd Kelly, who I thought was brilliant, and obviously it's a gain for Newcastle. Lloyd Kelly leaving on a free transfer to move to St James's Park alongside Jamal Lowe, who went to Sheffield Wednesday. Kiefer Moore, as I mentioned, 1.7 has gone to Sheffield United. So they've lost a bit of depth in that back line, losing Lloyd Kelly, who was obviously instrumental for Bournemouth as well. But I do look at Bournemouth and think they still maybe need to bring in a quality left back, which I think Lloyd Kelly can play and was covering for that role, that side of the pitch as well, down that left side. I think from what I know about Dean Huijsen, he can play there. He's relatively young. He's only 19 years old, so it could be maybe too soon for him to come in and perform how Bournemouth need him to perform as well. Sinisterra obviously was a player that they had there last season. They've now signed him on a permanent from Leeds, 23.4 million. A good player again down that left side, so you'd expect him to be able to pick up and perform as he has done for Areola as well. And Ines Unal, I think, only played a handful of games last season for Bournemouth, but they have signed him from Getafe on a permanent deal as well. The Turkish player will be playing in the Premier League on a permanent basis for Bournemouth as well. So just looking at the way that I think Bournemouth will need to set up, obviously they need to be able to maintain how they've been playing the last couple of seasons. Dominic Solanke's obviously been crucial and key for them. I do feel, again, he's scoring 19 goals last season. Can he do that again? I'm surprised there's not a couple of clubs that are probably coming for him, but I look at Chelsea, they're obviously happy with Nicholas Jackson and Nkunku. Spurs don't seem to want to sign a striker really to replace Harry Kane. United have got Rasmus Højlund, Haaland's at City. Liverpool have their front three as their attackers as well. They got Darwin Núñez as well, who is hopefully going to come good this season as well. But I do look at Dominic Solanke and I do question whether he can do what he did last season again and score 19, even maybe more goals this season. I'm not sure he's got that in him. You know, he's obviously not a young striker anymore. You know, he's at the peak of his career, so you're expecting a bit more from him. But this is going to be a really testing period. I think Bournemouth will have to try and keep their squad injury free as well. I know that Tyler Adams currently at the moment, I think, is injured. And I think they're going to have to just make sure that they can keep players injury free. You know, Dominic Solanke, Justin Cliver, another one. You know, they're going to need to keep those sort of players injury free from picking up massive injuries, because I think if they get one or two injuries, you know, they are going to feel the effects of that. And I think they have to have a really good start in the season again. I think, you know, not winning, I think, in your first 9 games in the Premier League, they're lucky that Solanke came through at the end and started to score the goals, but there could be a time where they're hovering above that relegation and might even face relegation if they're not careful. So, look, they're a team for me. Jefferson, again, another player that didn't really light up things for Sheffield United, is leaving Sheffield United on a free. You would probably say Bournemouth have got the better end of the deal. They've got a bit of money in for Kiefer Moore, who went in the other direction to Sheffield. So I think they've probably got the better end of the bargain there. But I do think they're going to heavily rely on Dominic Solanke again to be able to get them over the line. I'm just looking at some of the stats here from their last season. You know, goals scored per game, they finished 14th out of the 20 clubs in the league. Goals conceded per game, they were 15th. They only reached 9 clean sheets, so they finished 8th with that. You know, possession, they were 14th, retaining possession per game, 44% average of a game. So, you know, I mean, even looking after that, you know, the only Ryan Christie with 5 assists, it's just, you know, it's not really good enough. It's not really good enough for a team in the Premier League. So I think they're going to have to be very careful in terms of ensuring that they've got the right balance in the team, and understanding how the manager's going to want to set them up and what they need to do to go forward and to try and win the games. Obviously, some of their key other players will be Philip Billing, and again, Neto in goal has to be crucial for them going forward. It has to, defensively, they're going to have to be a lot more solid in terms of the goals that they've conceded last season as well. They've still obviously got a really good balance in that midfield with Billing and Sangare, who have been really brilliant as well. But I do think they're going to have to look at some of those areas in terms of the transfers that they're going to possibly need to do over the next couple of weeks or so, to ensure that they've got other areas of the pitch covered off in the right way as well. Let's look at some of the other players. Obviously, David Brooks, again, another talented winger coming back from a long-term injury. You know, very good pace-wise in terms of the dribbling that he can do, the vision as well, and the vision that he's got. They're going to have it tough, I think, this season, Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth will have it really tough this season. I look at some of the other clubs around them that you do expect to be there. Maybe, you know, the likes of Fulham, maybe Leicester's, Ipswich, those sort of teams that, you know, they'll relish going to the vitality and trying to get 3 points, because, as I said, you know, Lloyd Kelly, I think, was a really big player for them at the back. And not starting the season as well as they should have done last season. You know, we've said it on here, I think, for most of these previews now already, other clubs are going to be improving their squads, so they have to do exactly the same. They've brought in a couple of good players. Obviously, I said before, you know, Justin Cliver is a really good player as well, but they're going to have to pull up some really good performances to make sure that they're not the wrong end of the table, you know, come December or that peak period, you know, April, May, when the season's coming to the end. So I'm looking forward to seeing Bournemouth. Bournemouth fans, let me know what you think, and let me know if you think that you're going to do well this season. Who do you think you need to sign to make sure that you have a fully, you know, the depth in the squad is fully resolved before the start of the season? And also, where do you think Bournemouth will finish? I think Bournemouth will finish 16th in the league this season. So let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll be back with another video very soon. Thank you very much for watching.